Welcome back. We're on day 8 of my new program or system, whatever I'm calling it. And by now you should know what I'm doing. Every day I analyze the rapid game that I played on Lichess the night before, and then whatever time I have left in my daily allotment of chess time, I'm using to either solve puzzles or play a bot or whatever. If you notice that my face looks a little bit different, it's not because I got a sunburn or anything like that. I've switched webcams and I still haven't got all the settings ironed out, so hopefully this one looks better than the previous one. And if not, I'll just go back because I still have the previous one. I was just hoping that this one would be better. But anyway, that's besides the point and will not help me to learn chess. In this game, it looks like I had a mistake and or blunder fairly early, maybe even before the middle game, giving my opponent a little bit of an advantage, and then my opponent made a mistake and or blunder that let me get ahead in this game. On the move list here, I don't see any mistakes or blunders early on. Just an inaccuracy on my part, it looks like. So anyway, let's just go. I played the English once more. I played g3 to fianchetto the bishop. My opponent appeared to be playing normally here. I'm just going to click on that to see if knight to f3 was one of my moves. It was, okay. And then knight to c6 was their move. e3 or castling, I played e3. My opponent's best move here, it says, would have been to get the bishop out. But castling isn't bad for them. They castled, and then I should have castled here. Okay. I think the reason that I didn't castle here is because in several previous evaluations, there was a point early in the game in which I should have played d4, and I missed it, and I kept missing it. I've missed it in several games, and in one game I missed it 4 or 5 times, where the post-game analysis would just insist that I should have played d4, and anything else was at least a mistake. And so I thought about that here, and I thought, well, okay, they do have some pieces looking at that square, right? But if I play d4, I'm also going to have multiple pieces looking at that square. I'm going to have the knight, the pawn, and the queen all pointed there at d4. So I thought, if they took, I can take back. They're not going to take there because I can take there. And I'm going to end up, with the last capture on that square. And I thought I would come out ahead on that deal. But apparently d4 is not as good as castling here. Okay, so that's an inaccuracy and gives my opponent a slight advantage, but only if they play bishop to b4 now. Actually, it looks like taking the pawn is pretty close. They did take the pawn, and my only move, of course, is to take back, so I did. Now they played bishop to b4, even though rook to e8 is slightly better in this situation. Okay, I see that. I think if they had played that, I think I was going to block here. Yeah, that's what it says, bishop to e3 to block, and then they would play b4. Okay, well, they played bishop to b4, and I castled, so it should have come out even. I don't know, but for some reason the move order mattered there. I completely understand that sometimes that does, but here I'm not sure that I understand why the move order mattered. Regardless, this isn't the point of the blunder or mistake. My opponent took here, which was their best move. Did that sound not show up? For some reason, I didn't hear the sound the first time. Okay. Anyway, yes, of course I have to take back, and probably my opponent had missed a few times in previous analyses, and Stockfish says, oh, you dummy, why didn't you play knight to e4? And they thought about that kind of like I do, and they played it here, even though they shouldn't have. They should have played knight to a5. Okay, but they played in here, and I think I understand why they did. This pawn is not defended. I can defend it by playing queen to d3, or rook to e1. Really? How does rook to e1 defend that pawn? It doesn't. And why wouldn't they take it? Okay, I've got to know. Stockfish always says they wouldn't take it. So if I play here, why wouldn't they take that pawn? Let's say that they did. Now I'm really, really up if I play queen to c2, and it says their best move is to go here. Oh, it's because they can't get away with the knight. Okay, because my queen covers that, my pawn covers those two, my queen covers that, and my rook. And it's currently under attack, and all those squares are covered by my pieces. That's why they wouldn't take the pawn. But I would have to know to play rook e1 here. Wait, why does rook to e1 matter? Why can't I play queen to c2 first? Okay, because in the variation, this is imaginary. I played this, and we assumed that my opponent didn't realize they were in trouble, and they took this pawn, and then I played queen to c2. But I don't need my rook to cover those squares because my queen's covering those squares. So that's why I want to know why me playing queen to c2 was inaccurate, because it does the same thing. Not only does it protect the pawn and keep it from getting taken in the first place, but now their knight's in danger, right? I'm pointed at their knight, and well, I guess they can just go back now. Okay, that's what they should have done. Or play f5 to defend it. Oh, that's the difference. Is here, they went over there because my queen was still back here, and now they're not going to go over there. Okay, wow. All right, I got it. They played one of their moves, which puts me up at +1. And then they made another mistake with the d-pawn. I should have played rook to e1 here. Again. Or bishop to e3, but I played d5. And now we're back to even. I just thought, that would force their knight to do something, but I guess it forces it to go over here and attack this pawn, which is also undefended. But I don't need that front one anyway, do I? They were supposed to play knight to a5 earlier, but they didn't. But now I'm kind of encouraging them to, so I guess I see that. I should have just played rook to e1 is my best move. I mean, it is an open file. I guess I get that. Also, developing a bishop is not bad. h3, I guess, keeps their bishop from coming over here. Bishop to a3. Stockfish, I've noticed this showing up a lot in my recent games. It wants me to put that bishop out in front of the a pawn. But other times it wants me to play the a pawn, and I can't tell the difference between those two situations. Those two situations. Or not, even knight to h4 would have been better than what I played, even though it doesn't appear to do anything. Okay. I'm still not behind, though. My opponent played their best move, which looked like their only move. I think if I had been them, I would have went back there. Wow, that's not even in their top 5. Yeah, I would have played knight to e7, but that's not even listed. How bad would that have been? Really, really bad. Oh, because it blocks the rook from defending this. Oh. Well, I would have lost the game if I was black here, that's for sure. Okay, so after this, my opponent played what they should have played in the first place, and then rook to e1 is my best move again, but I guess I thought I needed to protect this pawn, so I tried to protect it like this. Wait, it just says that's an inaccuracy, but we went from 0 to -1. There's been times when Stockfish has counted a jump that big as a blunder, and certainly it should be counted as a mistake. Okay, I think the game review miscalculated that this is an inaccuracy, but it's only that bad if my opponent jumps this knight in here, which attacks my queen, and doesn't leave me a lot of places to go. But instead they played c6, which I guess attacks this pawn or invites me to take them. Maybe they wanted me to have tripled pawns. All right, my best move is bishop to e3 now, or bishop to a3, which again I don't understand. Rook to e1, which I've already said that I do understand. It's rook to the open file. It would be protected by the knight, so I wouldn't be too worried about it. Or just taking it would have been fine. Or putting the bishop all the way out here on f4. But this was my one blunder. I didn't do any of those things. I thought I didn't want to take because then I would have tripled pawns. I was wrong. I should have taken, rather than what I did. I went there. I don't know what I was thinking. They could have just taken it with the pawn. They could have taken here. They could take this way. I can't really explain that move. How long did I spend on it? I spent 8 seconds on that. That's actually a decent amount of time in a rapid game. But I'm trying to remember now what my thought process was. Surely I expected that they could take, and I had nothing defending that square, so I couldn't take back. And if I took here, my queen's undefended, they could take it. Yeah, I can't fathom the logic for me playing c5 here. But I also don't think theirs was a blunder, because we went from -1 to just about even. But if you'll remember a few moves ago, we were at even, and this inaccuracy took us past -1. So theirs should have been counted as an inaccuracy as well. But for some reason, the game review counted that as a blunder. But I blundered in kind. I'm just trying to figure out how I would have found these or known that these moves were better than what I did play. I need to pay more attention to putting rooks on open files. And I should be thinking about developing pieces, I guess. Yeah, those two I think I could have seen if I had just been paying a little bit more attention. But anyway, that was my blunder. I think I could at least get to the point where I wouldn't make that move and I would look for something else, because that move doesn't make a lot of sense. For one thing, they can just take it with their knight, and that's their best move, and that's what they played. Now they're threatening my queen. So I have to retreat. I did not retreat to queen to d1, queen to b1, queen to d4. I didn't retreat to any of those. I did this one, queen to c2. Why didn't I do any of the regular ones? I don't know. Well, that one seemed bad. Automatically. Queen to d4. Well, queen to c2 is not that much worse. I just wanted to stick around here. I wasn't sure where their knights were going to go. But they took the other pawn, which that means now that they're 2 pawns ahead, because they just got the pawn that I gave them, and they got the pawn that they had just challenged on the previous turn. Now I need to play rook to d1. It doesn't want me to put the rook on the open file anymore. Bishop to f4 is still good, even though that pawn's defended. Knight to g5. Wait, what? Sorry, knight to g5. Looks like it's threatening mate, but it's not, because... Well, for one thing, that wouldn't be mate because they have a runaway square. But for another thing, they can block it by playing g3. It says they wouldn't. They can also block that by playing f5, but it says they wouldn't. It says they would block it by playing knight to e4. That's if I played my third best move. Or queen to d1, because it wanted me to play queen to d1 last time. It says you might as well go ahead and do it. Or knight to d4. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and say this shouldn't have been an inaccuracy either. This one also should have been a mistake. But my idea was for playing a4 was to get the bishop out behind it. I know Stockfish keeps wanting me to block that pawn with the bishop, but I don't like to. I like to get the pawn out first and then put the bishop behind it. So, but a4 sent us back to -2. So that should have been at least a mistake. They still should have played knight to e4, even though I didn't do the whole mate threat thing. They didn't. They played bishop out here, developing a piece. I don't know why that's a problem, but it takes us almost back to -1. I should play knight to g5 again. Okay, here at least I understand that it's threatening a piece and mate. And now they would play g6, because they didn't play this one. They could have earlier, but so now they would play g6 to block my mate threat, and then I would take the bishop. That's what it says. Okay. But I played my second best move, which was here, which also threatens the bishop, but isn't a ridiculous threat of mate that they... I guess, okay. I guess the idea that if they did try to defend with g4, that it weakens the dark squares around their king and they don't have a dark squared bishop anymore. Okay, I think I understand that. They're supposed to bring their queen up 1 to defend the bishop, but instead they put their queen over there, which doesn't defend the bishop. And I'm supposed to threaten it immediately, but I didn't. I played the move that I should have played earlier, which was to line my bishop up with that spot. But earlier the queen wasn't there, but now the queen's there, so I did it. I guess that's okay. They should have gone to a6, it says. No, they did go to a6. What they should have played was knight to c4. Oh, it's attacking my bishop. Okay. That would have been a good move. And then I would have brought this rook over here to trap my other one in. Okay, well, they played over there, which allowed me to move this bishop here, except my rook was in the way. All those times earlier when it said I should have played rook to e1, I didn't. But now it says I should move it all the way over here. Oh, well, I just put it on e1 now, so I could put this bishop here. Finally got the rook there, like Stockfish wanted. Again, they want to put the knight in here, but instead they played h6. Maybe they didn't know what to do, and now I should have just taken the bishop, but instead I threatened their queen again. They blocked that by playing b5, which doesn't seem like a good idea. It says I should have taken with my knight or my pawn, but I took with my bishop instead, so they have to move their queen. They did. And then I can take the rook. That's pretty nice, and now I'm ahead. I was ahead for the rest of the game, which went on for quite some time. Well, in case you're curious and wanted to see how it turned out, after I went up that exchange, I was able to, just kind of capitalize on that. And I'm still just up an exchange here and down a pawn. But two of their pawns are doubled, so that's okay. They went there, which allowed me to check and then go after their knight. When they moved it, I just took it, which undoubled their pawns, but gave me that one. That allowed me to take another one of their pawns, which wasn't my best move, but then they got that one, and then I got another one, and they had to run away, but guess what? Their knight's trapped now. So they decided to take a pawn out with it, and now they don't have any pieces left, and I just had to be careful here, and I probably didn't make the best move every single time, because that's a lot of pawns, and a rook isn't, quite as agile or flexible as, say, a knight or a queen, so I had to be careful, but I knew that they weren't going to get past me, and they were going to run out of moves in a second, so I pinned that pawn. They came back up. I should have just checked them with my f-pawn there, is what it says, but I didn't. I did that. What says I would have had mate in 14 if I checked with the f-pawn. 14. Yeah, I'm not going to see mate in 14. But king to g2 gave me mate in 19, 18. It's still counting. Wait, it went to a depth of 58 this time. Okay. I never know how deep it's going to go. I can hear the computer's fan just a-blowing down there, even though it's not that warm in here, but I assume it's because of Stockfish. Anyway, they played f4, which I guess was one of the reasons that I should have, but I took, and I figured I'm able to trade off most of my pawns for most of theirs, even though they had one more, because I have a rook. So I got one for free there, and they came after my rook. And what can they do? They can do that, but then I'm going to get behind that pawn. They can go over there, but then I'm going to bring my king, and then I'm going to take that pawn. And they went there, which allowed this, which wasn't my best move. Wait. Oh, I went from a mate in 9 to a mate in 12. Oh, what a blunder. And now what can they do? They resigned here because they can't get past that. I had already decided at this point, since I decided to just leave the pawn and checkmate them with just the rook and the king. But they did resign here. We both had about 5 minutes left. But right back there. Yeah, I've stared at it some more, but I think my verdict is the same as it was earlier. I might not be able to find or to know that, some of these are better moves than what I played. I might not be able to determine that these are my best moves, but I should be able to determine that they're better than that, right? Because that just gives up a pawn for nothing, and then they're still going to get this one. Yeah, okay. Was kind of hoping to have enough time to play a rapid game today, but that analysis, as usual, took me a little longer than I had hoped, but I think I got something out of it. But I do have just enough time to play a little puzzle rush here, and I'm just going to do that. Again, it's about pattern recognition. It's not about breaking my top score. It's not even really for me about going fast. It's just that because there is a timer, I'm encouraged to go a little faster and not take 5 minutes per puzzle. So let's just do this. There will be a little bit of a countdown. I'm playing with the black pieces. Is there going to be a mate down here? Is that what it was? Okay. And then I'm playing with the white pieces, so I think we also have a back rank checkmate. Another back rank checkmate. Those are nice. What do I have here? Ooh, can I do this? Oh, that was good. Oh, because they couldn't move. I don't know, but I've got to ignore it and move on here, I guess. I was still trying to figure out that puzzle, but I should have been doing this instead. Oh, that's mate because of my bishop. And is this mate here because of my bishop? It is. And looks like this is checkmate here, but they have to block, but my knight's guarding that square, so. Is this check? Oh, was that mate? No, because I think they had a pawn they could block with, didn't they? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Where's that? Oh, there's a queen there. But I can do this, right? And then take it. Okay. I'm playing with the black pieces. I think I want to take their queen like this. And take their queen? Okay. Good. Is that mate? That's mate because that pawn wasn't defended and their king had no squares to move to. I'm playing with the white pieces. Oh, my knight's in trouble. Can I? Oh, I can take their knight. Oh, no, I can just take their knight with my queen and nothing's protecting that square. Was that mate? Because it also protected my knight. Let's see, where's their king? Can I check here and can they block that? They can block it with their queen. Are they? Oh, they did. Okay, and I think their king had one move there, and then I would have a mate. Should I move my knight in here, threatening mate? Is that what it is? Because I don't see anything else. Oh, it was that. Okay, good. Because I was about to get frantic. I think I can fork them here. Oh, was that it? Can I take their queen? Oh, and did I come out ahead on that? Sorry, it seemed like I might have lost that game. Oh, I get to remove the defender of the queen by this. Okay, I almost didn't see that. This is checkmate right here, pretty sure. And I'm playing with the black pieces? No, I'm playing with the white pieces. Oh, well then I should check. Was that mate? And I'm playing with the black pieces here. Can I fork them? Is that good? Right here is what I meant to do. Oh, that was it. Okay, and then there. And then they checked me. Should I come back? Okay. I think I'll just take their rook. Wait, okay, sorry, that went really fast for no reason. Should I just take their queen? Oh, I ran out of time. Oh, I beat my high score and I didn't get any wrong. Does that mean I'm getting better or I got easier puzzles? Oh, yeah, it's my number one of this week, my number one of all time, and my number one of today. Well, I hope it was my number one today because it's the only one I've played today. If it was my number two for today, I would have been really, really sad. Okay, one thing, I don't think I said it, but right before I started, I determined that I was going to try not to pay attention to the clock. And I think I did a pretty good job of not looking at the clock, of not looking at the ratings. One thing that still distracted me was that as soon as a puzzle ended, I was still trying to figure out the position and remembering, whether or not it was mate, that sort of thing. When I was, time is ticking on the new puzzle. That's something else that I can work on, I guess. On the other hand, I think it is probably a good idea to think back on the previous one, at least for a few seconds, to get that position in my head. This one, I think I should have just taken their queen now that I saw it because their pawn is pinned. And I think I had just determined that when my time ran out, right? I should just, okay, it was just a free queen. Well, that went pretty well. I know I still have lots of things to work on. Apparently, in the English, as well as with e4 openings, I still have no idea when to play rook to e1. I'm still pretty bad about figuring out pawn breaks, like whether or not my opponent's pawn break is a bad one, and I now have the advantage, or figuring out, which pawns of my own to move, all of that. That kind of showed up in that Lichess analysis there. I'm still most of the time not sure when to put the bishop in front of the A pawn. Stockfish recommends that a lot. Maybe one of you guys can give me a tip. I think I do understand it if the opponent hasn't castled yet and that bishop will block them from castling. But I think at least in this last situation, I'm pretty sure my opponent had already castled and had moved their rook to e8. So putting my bishop on a3, I'm not sure what that would have accomplished other than blocking my own pawn and not defending the pawn that my queen was stuck defending. Wouldn't a bishop have been better served moving up to, say, b2 to defend that pawn? But it never suggested that, so I don't know. And I'm guessing that a lot of those things are situational in the sense that that there's not a one-size-fits-all principle that will guide my understanding. It'll just depend on how the board is set up. But I might be able to find some sort of guideline when, if this plus this exists, then play rook to e1. But if B and C exist, then don't play rook to e1, that kind of thing. And that probably will just come with more experience. Thank you for spending your time here, and I will see you next time.